Hello, thanks for being here today. We are Credit is Life, and today we have a good show for you. We're going to be talking about an important topic, which is FHA loans. If you've never heard of FHA loans, this is a good episode for you to watch because we're going to be discussing why you might need an FHA loan and what they can do for you, how they are obtained, the kind of structure that you're going to be going into. There's a lot of good information about FHA loans that is really important. So I'm excited to dive in. So we're going to go ahead and get going with some of the information. If you're new to these podcast episodes or any of the podcast episodes, we would love for you to please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And definitely with the comments, if you have something that you would like to see us talk about or discuss further, leave it in the comments so we can consider it, maybe form a plan. And we would love to get an expert involved so that they could help with some of the planning or some of the information. So FHA loans are going to be a lot to do with getting a mortgage. If you don't know what an FHA loan is, then don't worry about it. We're going to discuss it. But at the bare benefits show knowledge of the structure of an FHA, you're going to want to think of mortgage. You're going to want to think of a loan for your mortgage. Let's go ahead and dive in a little bit. So I'm going to read some of this information, so please follow along. And again, if you have questions, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can be a part of the community and ask us questions anytime you want. So FHA loans are government-backed mortgages that help people who don't have the greatest credit score to purchase homes. So how do you know if this is a factor for you? Well, think about your credit score. If you have a credit score maybe of a 500 or 550, 600, under 660, I believe 660 is considered good credit. If you have under good credit, you're definitely going to want to look into FHA loans. That's not to say that you don't want to get an FHA loan if you have good credit, particularly if you want to make real estate a vehicle for you to try to increase your wealth and maybe have multiple homes. Now, there's a rumor that you can only have one FHA loan at a time, but a lot of people benefit from the FHA loans because the FHA loans are going to be a low interest percentage. We're talking about 3.5%, which is fantastic if your mortgage is $500,000, or let's keep it simple. If it's $100,000, then your down payment would be $3,500. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. So, for example, if you're a first-time buyer, or if you haven't had much time to build up your credit score, you may be able to take advantage of a program with FHA to get the money you need for the down payment for your new home. So this is great too if you really need a home. If you're a family person and you need a home for your family, your kids potentially, something that you could build with, something that you can call your own. And also homes are great because they appreciate. If you don't understand what appreciate means, it means that you can kind of use it against inflation as a hedge. So for example, if you take $100 and put it under your mattress, in about 100 years, that $100 isn't going to have the same weight as it had 100 years ago. $100 100 years ago was a lot of money. $100 right now isn't quite as much money. But if you take that $100 and put it and bought a house with it, that house over time would have appreciated. So that house 100 years ago is no longer worth $100. That house might be worth $100,000. And that's what we mean by appreciate against inflation. The house will continue to rise with the cost of times. Let's go ahead and go into our next slide. Now here we are talking about a few eligibility requirements. There are many different kinds of FHA loans available. So keep in mind that you might have to look around or get expert help to find the right FHA loan for you. If you're looking to buy a home and have poor credit, these loans are great for you. There's also the conventional loans, but conventional loans are more beneficial for people who have better credit. We're talking about 660 to 750 up into the 800 credit scores, 850s, which are very rare, but the 800 plus club of credit, they're not going to necessarily need to do an FHA loan, but they will be available. So you want to keep that in mind when you are doing your investigating on what you need for a mortgage. Let's go ahead and continue on to the next slide. If you've been looking into buying a new home, You might come across the term FHA loan. It's not always explained very clearly, but it's an important housing option. And this is what we have discussed. And this is very important if you want to be a homeowner, to understand the options on the table. So consider FHA one of the main options you're going to want to do if you're in need of a home and your credit's not the best. Why would your credit not be the best? Maybe you didn't learn about ways to maximize your credit when you were younger. Maybe you made a few mistakes when you were younger and reckless, or maybe things happened where you had no choice but to make a few mistakes. 1 in 4 people are going to be the victim of identity theft. This is something that unfortunately is very common. So if you had identity theft, that might be another reason why your credit might be not as good as it could be or should be. So keep in mind that there is help out there in the form of an FHA loan if you want to buy a home and your credit is not where you think it should or could have been. Okay, let's go into the next slide. An FHA loan is a type of mortgage that is issued by the Federal Housing Administration, or FHA. So that's where you're going to get the antogram for FHA, Federal Housing Administration, which means that lenders are willing to offer them at lower interest rates than they would otherwise be. We want to make sure as a country that we can house our citizens. So we do want to have some sort of feasible options out there, which is why FHA is a great option for people so that they can get into homes, particularly their first home, in a home that they're going to live in, potentially grow old in, and one day hopefully leave to their children to inherit or to other kin. Okay, let's see what else is in there. Lenders insure against loss in case of foreclosure, meaning they're protected against losing money. So FHA does have requirements to make sure that lenders are protected against losing money or foreclosure. They're a great option for those who need to get in, but there's still requirements and eligibility commitments that you should understand if you're going to get into an FHA loan. So what I would recommend is that you seek out the help of an expert, someone that's an expert in the field that can give you quality information about how to proceed with an FHA loan. So seek someone out. I would look for someone local that you can sit down, like I'm sitting down right here, and you can have a conversation with, a back and forth, and get more information. So that's going to do it for the slides. That's the bare structural definition of FHA loans. I hope that's been helpful. I'm going to ask you at this point that you please like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Let us know if you have questions, and if there are other features about FHA that you would like to know about. This would be a great time for you to ask those questions. So go ahead and do that. Be well, and we will see you next time for the next video.